OKOP.
This is OKOP. I'm Samuel Donner.
And I'm John Frye.
And we tell the funniest stories on the internet. And John, I have a juicy juicer for you.
I want to pierce that juicy.
Yeah,
just
juice
drip,
it. Just drip all
everywhere.
over your body. Yum. Today I effed up by accidentally implying that we wanted to hook up with our babysitter.
Not only is that something you don't want to accidentally imply, you also don't want to intentionally imply that.
Unless you're trying to have a threesome with your babysitter.
That is true. If that is the case, then you do want to intentionally imply that.
For reference, my husband and I are in our mid to late 30s, and our sitter is in her early 20s. We have 2 young kids, 5 and 3, and through the pandemic, my husband and I have both been working from home. For a while, we were taking shifts trying to watch the kids while the other had meetings, but eventually we resorted to hiring a sitter sometimes during the day to watch them, to keep them occupied so we could work.
On the surface, it's like, oh, we'll both be home. It'll be great. But then it's like you're in meetings, you're like all this stuff, and they come in like, okay, hi, my poopy. Like, that's
Also, it's like the kids aren't in school either, right? So usually school is like a daycare for those kids, but during COVID, all the kids were at home, so you have to care for them, whereas the teachers usually would be doing that.
I get you, parents.
Yeah.
Smart move.
We've gone through a couple of sitters before landing on our current one. She has been absolutely fantastic, a dream with the kids, and has been working for us for several months now. It has been a godsend for us to hide away in our offices on our laptops, undisturbed through our workday, knowing someone is taking care of things on the other side of the door. Everything changed one day.
Oh, God.
The F-up happened yesterday, and we decided we wanted to take a night to ourselves now that restaurants were opening up again in our area. We had the sitter come over and went out for a night of food and drink. Our first date night out at a restaurant in almost 2 years due to the pandemic. Our dinner was glorious. Drinking and flirting and being adults outside in the real world, feeling like people and not just parents, trapped and worked in our home. We felt very energized, and we knew how we wanted to spend that energy.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, yeah. But having young kids makes that alone time a little bit more difficult.
Right.
You don't want to have any peep and thumbs in there.
I can only imagine how it makes it more difficult.
Our kids are fussy sleepers sometimes.
Oh, God.
When you're clapping cheeks that loud, anyone's a fussy sleeper. We were joking to each other that we should ask the sitter to stay later and watch the kids so he and I could have some private time uninterrupted. When we hired our first sitter, we took advantage of the fact that the kids were occupied by having a few sneaky quickies during the day while we were locked away working. But we hadn't done that in a while, and now the idea of hooking up this evening without a risk of a barge in was very appealing. When we got home, I was a little tipsy. The kids had been put to bed, but weren't really settled to sleep yet, so my husband went to check on them. I stayed and thanked our sitter for helping us have a wonderful night out. She was very friendly as always and assured us it was no problem. She'd help us out whenever we needed. And here's where I effed up.
Uh-oh.
My tipsy brain thought it would be cute to slyly joke about having her stay and watch the kids a little longer so my husband and I could have some frisky alone time together.
Ooh.
And one of those as a joke but testing the waters things, which already is crossing the line, but what makes it worse is how I phrased it. She said, "You look so happy and rejuvenated," and said we must have had a great time out. I agreed and said it was so amazing and thanked her so much for letting us escape as man and wife for a night to have some fun. She says something like, "No worries at all. Anytime you need me, I'm happy to help with anything."
Anything.
To anything.
Anything.
To which I say with a wry smile, "Well, we had been thinking about asking you if you wanted to stay a little longer. We could hook up." Which in my mind, I was trying to suggest she stay longer to watch the kids so my husband and I could hook up. But that is not how it came out. I understand now what was clearly implied by my phrasing. Her eyes went wide and her voice became hushed and serious. And she's like, "Are you serious?" And me, not understanding my F-up yet, laughed and said, "I was just teasing, but we'd certainly enjoy it. We'd done it with other sitters in the past, but we didn't want to make her too uncomfortable, and it was completely fine if she wasn't comfortable with it."
Wow.
I think I'm treating the subject delicately because I think I'm talking about a completely understandably weird ask that you do to your babysitters about our kids while we wanted to hook up in another room. And she's responded like she's shocked I'm asking, but is super cool about it. She stammers a bit and says, she'd love to, but she can't tonight. And I try to drop it, saying it's no big deal, thinking that we're just going to go hook up anyway. But she keeps insisting she would, but she can't. And she keeps stressing she can't. And I'm starting to get that she's implying that it's her time of the month. And I'm tipsy and I don't really know what that has to do with things or if I should be offering her anything. But I just keep assuring her it's no problem at all. And at this point, I just want her to leave so I can jump on my husband. She continues to be apologetic and says she would love to any other time. She thinks we're amazing and it's such a huge fantasy for her. And that's when it clicks in my brain. And I get what we're talking about. I start to panic a bit and backpedal, saying, forget I ever asked, but she doesn't want me to feel like she's blowing me off or making excuses. And I'm trying to get out of it, but I feel like I'm in too deep and there's a misunderstanding because she's so into it and supportive. And eventually we awkwardly hug and she leaves.
Oh my God.
I freak out and run into our bedroom to my husband and spill out the story of what just happened. And he starts howling with laughter and I'm just stressing out. He's been making fun of me ever since, calling us swingers now. He's been telling me everything will be fine. Just tell her it was an honest mix-up. But this girl is great with our kids and it has been a dream for us helping out. I don't want to lose a sitter and I'm afraid I just effed it all up. I have no idea what to do now. And as I see it, I have these options. A, pretend like I don't even remember asking, was too drunk and have no idea what she's talking about when she tries to bring it up. That's the coward's option.
Okay.
Potentially mean and childish, but theoretically sparing us of embarrassment. B, explain truthfully what happened, that it was a misunderstanding, and risk making her feel completely embarrassed for being enthusiastically game and making a relationship with this amazing sitter very awkward. Or she might just have a big laugh and be over with it. The adult option, own your mistakes and clear the air. C, ghost her, sell our home and move and change our names, the vacuum cleaner repairman option. D, just roll with it and have a three-way hookup with this girl, the heroic option.
I'm definitely going with the heroic option.
Yeah, that seems like the best. You know, turn these lemons into lemonade, you know?
Dude, this is... Wow, that's so wild that, like, what are the odds that all of these misinterpretations would happen and that the babysitter is down? Like, that is just too incredible.
That's some content that's ready for the hub, you know?
Dude, it really is, though. Some hot, fresh content.
Some hot, fresh content for the hub, baby.
Shout out to OP.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one.
Dude, the babysitter fantasy, it's real. It's out
also,
there.
what would you do if you were in that situation? Like, would you just, like, try to tell the babysitter, like, hey, this is what happened?
I don't know. I mean, how old is this babysitter? Does she have parents? Like,
true. Well, most people have
yeah,
parents.
that's true. But, like, you know, is she living with her parents? Because I feel like the babysitter job is usually maybe when you're living with your parents, unless you're like a professional au pair.
Right.
And I feel like that might be a little weird.
Yeah. Or at a minimum, just clearing the air, being like, hey, you know, I was drunk. It was a total accident. I did not mean to imply this. Like,
but now that I have.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
That was definitely a very solid one.